Maybe they were watching the Cubs. All I know is that I interacted with a lot of I was a voyeur for a lot of interactions between Cubs fans that were like, everyone needs to be fired. Let's get everyone up out of here. 2-4 is unacceptable. All of this stuff. I cede the floor to you, Mark Grote.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'll say, as I was indicating during transition, or was saying during transition, I do understand some of where Cubs fans are coming from, and not just because the bullpen was bad early last year for a lot of last season, not just because the bullpen was bad, not just because they were bad with runners in scoring position, and we've seen some of that already this season, but because of the fact that the Chicago Cubs have not been in the playoffs for 4 years. The last time the Cubs were in the playoffs was the year 2020. That's the pandemic season. That's the 60-game season. That's
the last season that Theo was in charge.
Last season that Theo was in charge. It's David Ross's first season as well. So I always say, like, look, the Cubs fans and the Cubs organization, for that matter, set a different and new precedent when they won the damn World Series, when they went to 3 straight NLCSs. That was setting a new precedent. The Cubs fans have acted accordingly. The organization hasn't in the previous 4 years. So this is not for what's happening right now. It's not necessarily because the Cubs are 2-4 and they've blown some bad games. This is because of a unsatisfying offseason and because they haven't been in the playoffs for the last 4 years.
So some residual effect of the championship window.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't like the word residual necessarily. I mean, I like it as more of this is the way the organization comports itself now. This is a winning organization now. They're not the losers that they were before that, when losing was hilarious and tragic and weird and they'd make documentaries about it.
I just look at it as, to me, okay, I hear what you're saying, Grotes, and for the most part, I agree. The only thing that I'll say is, after you get out of the 2020 season and then you have Rossi there, I feel like you had to figure out how you were going to rebuild, because you made your trades, you got everyone up out of here from the championship teams, and it looks like that was the right move.
Yeah.
No one has, other than Rizzo occasionally, no one has seemingly been better since they left the Cubs. So you have to Schwarber is someone that they should not have gotten. Darvish. But you're done with that era. To me, it's the beginning of last year is where I think a lot of this frustration comes from, because you make the announcement as a team of, not only did we get rid of the manager that people seemingly liked, but was doing an okay job, not a great job, but an okay job, had made it to the playoffs in his first year in a tough situation for him to take over as manager. And then you say, we feel like we can do better. Really? Yeah, so much so that we fired that guy and we went and gave $40 million to this guy because he's the best manager in baseball. And then you look at that move and you say, giddy up, let's ride. That's supposed to be the thing, where they've hired an $8 million a year manager. Surely then they're going to spend money on the actual roster, because they spend $40 million on the manager. And then that doesn't happen. And then you have another season where you kind of peter out at the end of the season. And then you walk into this season like, all right, we've given the manager a year to figure out what he needs to know about the Cubs as an organization. Surely now things are going to get... That's how I am looking at this, just from what I see from Cubs fans.
Right. And let me tell you, to be clear, I am not worried. Like, I watched all these games and I was mad, and it is worth picking through some of the issues that the Cubs had this weekend. I'm still comfortable that this bullpen, which I thought looked pretty good in the offseason, will eventually be good, and they will get into rhythm, and then they're going to be just fine. But back to Craig Counsell, what the Cubs told you when they hired him, when they did all the things that you said, they ditched beloved David Ross and handed him crazy crazy money to be the manager. They told you that one of your co-hosts tomorrow does not like to hear managers matter. They told you, the Cubs Jed Hoyer said the manager matters and should be difference making. And so, while I'm not ready to close the lid on Craig Counsell and say somehow he's a bad manager and like he's making mistakes and all of that kind of stuff, but the pressure that Cubs fans are putting on him, I get it. I understand that. He's supposed to be an MVP manager. Eventually, he should make a difference for the Cubs.